Friends, welcome to another S600 W220 episode. The chassis we've dubbed the worst chassis ever made by Mercedes-Benz. W220, hands down the worst chassis ever made by Mercedes. Fiber optics to go bad, 40 modules to go bad.
It's a trap!
ABC suspension, vacuum manifold can go bad, like asking for a huge hole in your bank account. Believe it or not, it's true. We can verify it. And it's fine. We love it, you love it. And so today we're gonna tell you all about our $1,800 S600, what we've been going through in the last few videos to get the ABC suspension running, what it sounds like when you straight pipe a twin turbo V12, and how you feel when you're living the W220 life. And we're gonna get into all of that right now. Right, so if you're new to the channel and you haven't seen our other W220 S600 videos, we've essentially been in an abusive relationship with our lover. We have a couple lovers. So we had an S55 that was treating us really badly, and now we have this S600 that we got from Pull and Save for 1,800 bucks. In the previous videos, we brought it home and thrashed it a little bit. We repaired some of the ABC hydraulic hoses and almost got the suspension to work. And what else? So now we're here driving it, and we've straight piped it. We've fixed the ABC suspension.
Right. So we ended up fixing the ABC. Actually, just used compression fittings. If you search that, it's kind of a thing on the internet. But one weird thing with this car is it was 3/8 pipe, hydraulic pipe. It wasn't 10 millimeter. And it's a super valid way to fix this. We had a dead end hose that was no good. It had rotted off. Turns out the pipe, although it's supposed to be 10 millimeters, is dead on 3/8, which is weird. So the hydraulic guy didn't want it. Anyway, he was making fun of my German hydraulics, and this is the fix we came up with together. And he is a professional. I am not. The car, in some aspects, isn't worth throwing a ton of money at, so we just want to see if we could get it up and running and maybe evaluate it more. So $12 in compression fittings, and all of a sudden the ABC's working. Oh, and a tandem pump. We got from another YouTuber.
Hey, you got a box from the Benz house.
Which we were going to use even if we went with coilovers, because the tandem pump can be modded just to run power steering. So we could go down a path and not be stuck with something or paying too much for something we're not going to use, because that's kind of our gig.
So the whole concept of picking up this car was, well, we wanted to mess with a V12, right? We wanted to hear what it sounded like straight piped. We wanted to dive into the W220 chassis more, but as our MO is, right, we're going to take the cheapest options to diagnose repair, right? Because we're sort of like step repairing, right? Instead of throwing accumulators at it and replacing every weepy hose, we're going to replace the one that we know is busted and see what else bursts.
And then just see what breaks, and then evaluate if we're going coilover,
right,
as far as ABC is, right? Because one of the things that we didn't know, and we found out later, is both tie rods, steering rods, ends were bent like U's. Don't know how, don't have a story for it. Tow truck? I doubt it, but maybe.
Tow truck.
Spalding, driving it into I don't know. Because the steering wheel was straight. We were driving it, it was scuffing pretty bad, but you know. So we ended up having to fix that. So one of the things of this car is we believe that it was taken very well care of, very well in the first part of its life, In the middle part of its life, seems like it was probably maintained. And then in this last little bit,
Right.
There's been some abuse. We've done it. We may continue to do it. But, you know, that's a project.
Right. What? That's crazy. What do you think that's going to sound like?
Magic unicorns.
Quick, to the floor. That sounds pretty good. Yeah, that's nice.
That's awesome.
It's not too much at all.
Not even loud. Well, I mean, it's just burbling.
Right, and that's straight. So the interesting thing about the W220 life is that it's a love-hate relationship, right? Like, you love the way your car looks when the suspension's collapsed, but you hate the fact that the suspension's collapsed. But it's a W220, so when it's running, you just love it. My point is that the W220 whole community is awesome, but it's got this weird dynamic, and it shows through in the comments of our videos. So, you know, we've had some great comments and connections with people from Australia to Morocco. Like, shout out to Junior Boy 6959, who I know is looking for this video. But then we've also had some strange comments, and there's this weird dynamic where people come in with a comment and then 11 hours later come back with another comment, and for some reason they're always contradictory. Like, one guy was saying, you know, he was with us. He was lamenting about, you know, this is wrong and this is wrong and this is wrong, but I love the car so much, maybe I'm going to put coilovers on it, or maybe I'm going to drive it off a cliff. Which, I get that, right? Love, hate.
Right.
But then he comes back 11 hours later with, like, who are you guys to say that this is the worst chassis? And, you know, like, just pointing fingers, defending the W220. You know, and then I love this one. So our S55 was having a wide open throttle issue, and one of our commenters was saying that these cars are super reliable, and the thing is that the cars actually prefer 25 to 30% throttle, which that's some made up sense. That's some real fake knowledge. Any car that's in good running condition should be able to handle its own wide open throttle without issues.
Right? How do you merge onto a highway? How do you go up a hill?
25 to 30% throttle.
No, I mean, and that's the thing. This car right now I love. I do. A week ago, waiting for this road trip, I was pretty sure I hated it. And honest truth, this may be part of the video where we jump cut to this thing being on fire on the side of the highway.
Right.
It's all these are possibilities. Or it'll run better than you could ever imagine.
Right.
And that's the 220 life. And the part of defending it is just, it's like my buddy had a dog that was just horrible. We all knew it. We loved her to death, but she was not a good dog. But he would defend her because you do. And that's kind of that abusive relationship thing. Yeah.
Yeah. People feel that strongly about a W220.
Oh, yeah.
And why not? It's fine.
And then, but then what you find, like Ali was saying, the community. We're sitting off the side of the road. We've been shooting some video, and a cat in an ML63 pulls up and asks if we need help, and then recognizes, oh yeah, that's that S600, and he's later tells us he's 99% sure we need some coils, and he's got a set.
Right. Yeah,
I
he's
mean,
looking out for us.
Yeah, but he was, you know, he was looking out for a fellow Mercedes guy. And it isn't like the cost no object Mercedes guy. I think there's a bunch of us rolling around in these budget cool cars.
Yeah, absolutely. And
You know.
shout out to Ilias for stopping
Oh my God.
and checking us out. It was a cool little meetup and kind of a surprise, being that we're in the middle of northeastern Idaho, off an exit.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, and we got to share some stuff. He knows some things about some stuff, and we got some things, and that's how this all progresses. Because the way we keep these cars going is we're all sharing our ideas,
yes.
and they could be wrong. Like I said, on the pipes, when I did the hydraulic pipes on this car, they're 3/8. The internet says they're 10 millimeter. No, they're 3/8. Calipers, the whole 9 yards, and we find these things out. And that's how we can keep these things going, you know?
Well, yeah, I mean, if you think about, if you believe the internet on everything, you might stop before you get to a solution. But what we found is, instead of believing the internet, we grab some calipers, we grab the hose, you go to the hose shop, and you find a solution. And now, with what we know, in theory, we could just rebuild all the lines and basically keep that hydraulic system going forever. And what's next to discover? Like, you discover the tractor that uses the accumulators that you need, and now they're not $100 a piece. Now they're $9.99 because tractors. Right.
Oh no, which is probably opposite. Tractor crap's expensive, but you get it on. You don't know, because one of the misconceptions is Mercedes built that accumulator, or they built.
At that moment, the camera ran out of film. So here we are in the garage for our wrap up. And what's my takeaway? Well, I'm really a big fan of the CL, and in particular a CL600. I would want a twin turbo CL600. And previously I thought I would probably buy, somewhere near the most vetted, with lots of service history, spend, $15,000 or more. But now that I've had my experience with our W220 S600, I feel like I would probably spend a lot less and get something that maybe needed a little work but still was really presentable. And the whole purpose of that would be just because everything is aging out. So it doesn't really matter. Yes, has the ABC been maintained? Sure, but any parts that haven't been fully replaced are aging out. They're just timing out. If they have been replaced, then they're new old stock, which is still got to be aging out. And so anyway, I just kind of changed my whole approach, but I'm no longer afraid of the ABC or the W220 things. I just wouldn't spend a bunch of money, because you could walk out to your car and you could have suspension collapsed, or you could have one of those, no start situations. Any of the situations that you have with the W220, you're going to have with a $2,500 one or a $25,000 one. And so that's basically my takeaway on this one.
My takeaway of the 220 was kind of the same. Working on it, it's just a car. It's a complicated car, and not everything works every day. But absolutely, $20,000 doesn't buy you reliability. It's all old. And the other takeaway was based on the project. In our first video, we said, our second, we're going to make a burnout car. It burns out. It's a one-tire fire. Dyno mode, whatever. It's all cool. But that road trip we took, most comfortable car I've ever been in. I wanted to keep it. But in the back of my head, I was pretty sure 20 minutes later we'd have the fire extinguisher out. Just because we would, you know what I mean? And so I think part of it is keeping your project dynamic. And when you're manifesting cars, because it's kind of what ends up with happening to us, you keep it open. So thinking we might have kept the 220, the S600, because it was fun and fast and impressively fast. And when you think it wasn't, the list of cars we ran on the street is pretty cool. But then one day, Ali reached out to a guy we knew who had a 140 chassis. So this is a clean 75,000 mile coupe. All the buttons function. All the little widget. The only problem it's got is only half the engine is running. But it's now a project. And we looked at it before we got the 220 and just weren't up for it.
Right.
So going from what could be considered the worst and most fragile to bulletproof M120 motor, 400 horsepower, not as much torque. We're gonna see how it goes. And that's how your project should be. It should be dynamic. You miss out on things if you get too laser focused.
If you are dynamic and you're not committed to a certain project or a certain build, then you have the freedom to find things that are more affordable sometimes, better deals, better steals. Whereas if you're like, I gotta have this car with this mod and these wheels, then you're gonna pay. So, and we don't like to pay, but we do like V12s, and for some reason we're V12 magnets. So now we have this, you know, potential Pagani starter car, right? Like Wayne said, W140 from the worst to the best as far as V12s go, and just chassis in general. If you don't know, this is a legendary chassis from a time when the accountants didn't come back and say, hey, we can cut a corner here or there. They just said, oh, you built a $75,000 car, okay, send it out, people will buy it. And so we're super excited about this, and this is going to be the future of our V12 lives as you know it for now. And we have some other V12s kind of in our back pocket. I don't know why. Like I said, we're V12 magnets all of a sudden. But anyway, appreciate you all always checking these videos out. It's been fun dabbling in the W220 community and getting to, you know, have comments with y'all and sort of digitally meet. And so we'll just leave you with this, you know, always go look at a cheap 220, but don't always buy one. And aspire to own something higher than a 430. That's all I got for you. Y'all be well. Catch you on the next one.
You want to check the mic?
Check. I'm pretty sure it's working.
Let's see the light.
Yeah.
Check.
Yeah, I see. Okay.
We going?
We're going.
Okay.
It's hot.
Yeah.
We got this is rolled down. These are rolled up.
Oh my God.
Okay, here we go again.
Here we go.
Pray. The seventh time is the charm.
Take 3.
Take 99.